Yo, what's up, Raiders? We are back today with another guide. Let's talk about one of the most important parts of your progression in Arc Raiders, the skill tree. If you've been wondering what's worth picking, what to skip, and how to build your Raider efficiently, this guide breaks down everything you need to know and my personal take on what perks are good to build towards. So let's get into it. So here are the basics. As you level up in Arc Raiders, you earn skill points you can spend across three main branches: conditioning, mobility, and survival. You're not locked into one path, so you can mix and match based on your playstyle, and I honestly recommend mix and matching because no big skill at the end is worth the investment except maybe like one or two. Instead, focus on key middle nodes to give yourself the largest boost min-max wise. Each branch focuses on a completely different strength, and picking the right combination can completely change how smooth your runs feel topside. Let's start with conditioning. This is easily the best side to start because it boosts your stamina, regen, and how well you handle encumbrance when carrying heavy gear. Plus, it's not that skill point intensive, so you only really need to invest 23 points at the maximum for the biggest bang for your buck. Skills you want to max out along the path, or at least aim towards, are use to the weight, which helps you move faster even when loaded up with shields or heavy loot. Then the big ticket ability that you invest the rest of your skill points into, loaded arms. The skill point path I would go for conditioning is 5 points into use the weight, 5 points in fight or flight, 1 point in survivor stamina. Survivor stamina or unburdening roll being your first big choices is all up to preference. I personally would work towards survivor stamina due to my reliance on rolls and stamina in repositioning. After that, I would put 1 point in a little extra, and finally, the one you're working towards, loaded arms, where you max it out with 5 points for a total of 22 points of pure stamina maximization and weight reduction without over-investing in the condition tree. You could add the extra 13 points for fly swatter or back on your feet, but I don't recommend it until you get much later. But if you feel like you definitely have to go for one, go for back on your feet. Now, once your stamina is in a good place, most players move into mobility next. This branch is all about speed and agility, making your raider feel snappy and responsive. For this tree, it is a little bit more straightforward. You're just going for anything that makes you faster or harder to deal with or catch. For this one, the skilling route I would go is 1 point into Nimble Climber, a fairly mid skill that you only really use because you have to, because it's the very beginning. Then you max out Marathon Runner and Youthful Lungs for even more stamina on top of all of the conditioning ones. Next, max out Slip and Slide for some insane buffs to the slides that you will notice the difference for. Now that we got our first two big upgrades, Carry the Momentum and Calming Stroll, let's get into those. Carry the Momentum allows you to dodge roll, then run for no stamina for a short period of time once unlocked. Now honestly, I recommend taking them both after you put one single skill point into Sturdy Ankles to get to Calming Stroll. This is a good skill to have, so you gain stamina as if you were standing still while walking. After those, to round out the tree, you put 5 more points into Effortless Roll for less stamina consumption per roll. The rest is negligible or up to preference. We are around the conditioning skill points we discussed earlier, but even so, I'd recommend you invest an additional 5 points into Heroic Leap, giving you a dodge roll that has an insane buff to distance. The big advantage here is to show these perks stacking with the conditioning skill tree. When you combine stamina boosts from conditioning with stamina reduction from mobility, you can move almost endlessly. Sprint, roll, slide, repeat. It's the go-to combo for aggressive players who like to flank or dive in fast, and it's perfect for escaping sticky situations when things go bad. Now, let's talk about survival, which is a little bit more situational and niche, but when used right, can be devastating, especially as a solo player. This branch focuses on stealth, looting, and reduced detection from arc enemies. It's perfect if you prefer sneaky, scavenger-style gameplay, or if you're solo and want to avoid big fights and go for stealthy assassinations of people before they even know you're there. The path I would go for survival is 5 points in Agile Croucher for the signature solo player crouching speed, then 1 point in everything except Silent Scavenger. This skill allows you to make a lot less noise when looting containers so you yourself can still hear around the vicinity. After, we pick up both big mid-tier nodes, Suffer in Silence so you make less noise if you are damaged, and Walking Around, along with Good as New. So once a heal is active, you get an insane buff to stamina regen. Now that puts us at 15 points for survival, but this is one tree I recommend going all the way for, the looting ability Security Breach that unlocks, so we are going to invest another 20, but none of these abilities are a waste either. All of them are top tier skills, so don't feel like you are wasting your skill points. The first two skills, Broad Shoulder and Stubborn Mule, we max out, are both weight-based skills, so obviously a necessity in arcraiders. Broad Shoulders reduces the max weight you carry, while Mule makes it so that you gain stamina faster even when you are encumbered. Next, the only other one I recommend you definitely take is Looter's Luck. Probably the best skill in the entire tree that gives you a chance to have twice as much loot in every container, which could be insane depending on which one it does activate on. Now the last 5 points before you unlock Security Breach are a toss-up. I'd say divide them up between 3 deep breaths, which allows you to regen stamina faster, and Traveling Tinkerer for even more in-raid crafts or repairs. Now, this is not a flashy tree, but it could save your life more than you'd think. Players who prioritize extraction over the combat would love this setup, and when paired with conditioning, it lets you move steady, quiet, and safe across any map. So now you're probably wondering, what should you specialize in if you're just starting out? Here's a great early progression path that I'd probably go for if these skills all stay the same. Start with conditioning first. The main skills and anything along the way I mentioned before are all good, but at least take some of the basic stamina and weight reduction ones before you move to other ones. So used to the weight, and fight or flight for a small 11-point investment pays off dividends, but make sure you eventually come back to get loaded arms later on. Then, if you move to mobility, get slip and slide, marathon runner, and youthful lungs at the very least for a 16-point investment. These, along with conditioning, will prime you for the mid-game and not worry about stamina as much while you prep for higher tiers. Finally, let's dip into survival for Slight Scavenger. If you're looting a lot or you plan on only focusing the other trees, definitely pick up in round crafting. Being able to craft bandages and other items mid-raid is an indispensable ability that you should invest in, especially if you are solo and don't have teammates to drop you stuff. This would be a 6 to 11 point investment depending on what you choose, so it's not much for the massive headache of running out of items mid-raid to be happening. After that, just follow my previous segments and fill out the trees based on your preference. This setup keeps your early runs consistent, efficient, and flexible no matter how you play. And that's your full breakdown of the arcraider skill tree using what I know from the game and what would be the most optimal branch, plus giving you a little hint to what you would like to build for yourself in your playstyle. If this helped you plan your next build, drop a like, hit subscribe, and comment your favorite skill down below. I'll be testing more builds and sharing the meta updates as the game evolves. If you have any video ideas you would like me to break down, give a comment on what you would like to see. Thanks for watching, Raiders, and I'll see you all topside. Peace.